Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Saturday, November 4th. Today is the night of the big fight. George St. Pierre is making his comeback against Michael Bisping at Madison Square Garden. And I'm not going to the fight because I will be driving. I'll be rideshare driving or private driving at that time. I'll see the highlights and everything after. I'm a big fight fan. I am looking forward to seeing it at some point, but I'll be out making money. Saturday night is always the biggest night of the week for rideshare drivers. If you're thinking about becoming a rideshare driver, just a few things I want to talk about. I get a lot of questions on YouTube, questions on Twitter, questions on Instagram, questions to my email about expenses as a rideshare driver. So I'm going to start with who should be a rideshare driver, because I think that's the most important part of the expenses question. So every entrepreneur, every self-employed person, every business owner, every salesperson, every marketing person understands that there is a cost of doing business. Expenses are a part of doing business. It takes money to make money most of the time in any business. So it doesn't always take a lot of money, but it takes some money. And if you are an employer, an employee-minded person, if you're a 9-to-5er or you're a W-2 employee, and your mindset is that you should be able to show up and work and get a paycheck. I'm not saying that you can't be an Uber driver or that you can't be a Lyft driver, but you probably shouldn't be if you carry that mindset into rideshare. And this is why. When you sign up to be an Uber driver or when you sign up to be a Lyft driver, you are not signing up to be an employee. Let me repeat myself. When you sign up to be an Uber driver, when you sign up to be a Lyft driver, you are not signing up to be an employee. You're not registering for employment. You're not applying for employment. You're not going to interview for employment with Uber or with Lyft as a rideshare driver. Ever. That's not what this is. So you can be an employee, and there's many drivers out there who do very well, who have a 9-to-5 or a 10-to-7, or they have a 8-to-4, or, they have full-time employment as a W-2 employee, and they go out and they drive with Uber or they drive with Lyft, and they do very well. But even those drivers understand that they're not an employee of Uber or an employee of Lyft. It's very, very important, before we even talk about expenses, that you understand that. When you register to become a driver with a rideshare company, you are not registering for employment. You're going to be a 1099 independent contractor, and your mindset, your mentality should be that of a self-employed person and or an entrepreneur, a business person. And so it's going to take some money to make some money. Let me say that again. It's going to take some money to make some money. Let me get into some more detail for you. What kind of money is it going to take? Well, if you have a vehicle, your vehicle needs gas in order to drive. Your vehicle also needs oil in order to drive. It needs transmission fluid. It might need brake fluid. You might need to put some radiator fluid in the radiator to keep it cool, some engine coolant. Your vehicle might need tires. It might need brake pads. It might need car washes. Your vehicle is a liability to you because you spend money on it whether you drive for a rideshare company or not. Period. In order to drive your vehicle, you got to put gas in the tank. So it's no different when you're driving as a rideshare driver. The only difference is that if you drive more, it might require more gas, more oil, more coolant, more transmission fluid, brakes, tires, car washes, those kind of things. So if you use common sense and you're a vehicle owner, you're well aware that there are vehicle expenses. Like last week, I had to go and renew my vehicle registration for the state of Texas. That was an expense. It was about $85. Now, I would have had to do that whether I was driving for Uber or Lyft or not, because that's an expense of being a vehicle owner. That's why the vehicle is a liability. But as a rideshare driver, you can turn your vehicle into an asset by making money. So I highly recommend for anybody that owns a vehicle that's been driving for over 1 year, has a decent driving record, doesn't have much of a criminal background or any criminal background, has expenses, and is at least 21 years of age or older, because that's the requirement that Uber and Lyft have, you should be a rideshare driver. Whether you're going to do 1 trip a month or you're going to do 1,000 trips a month, if you own a vehicle, you should be a rideshare driver, because you already have vehicle expenses. If you use your vehicle to make money, you can cover those vehicle expenses. You can make a profit above those vehicle expenses. You might even pay your rent, pay your utilities, pay your bills, pay for your cell phone, pay for your vacations, pay for your retirement, pay for whatever you want. So that's the first thing. The first thing is, if you drive a vehicle, whether it's your vehicle or it's someone else's vehicle, there's always expenses, and vehicle owners know that. Now, if you don't own a vehicle, Uber and Lyft have really, really good lease and rental programs. So you can sign up to be a driver with the companies, and you can use somebody else's vehicle to drive passengers or to deliver food if you're driving for, let's say, Uber Eats or Postmates or, DoorDash or one of the other ones. So this opportunity as a rideshare driver is all about using a vehicle, expenses involved, using a vehicle to make money above and beyond your expenses. I say it and I break it down and explain it like that with a slight tinge of maybe a little condescending, because I get so many hundreds of comments from people that say, you can't make money in rideshare. You have to pay for gas. You have to pay for oil changes. You have to pay for this and that. There's expenses. That's a terrible job. To me, those people are ignorant, uninformed, don't have a lot of common sense to know that there's those expenses regardless whether you drive for Uber or Lyft. So you're already paying those expenses. Or just haven't really thought much about it before they send me the comments. So let me further explain. Last week I paid $85 to renew my vehicle registration. Whether I drove for any rideshare company or not, I was going to have to pay that $85. So yes, there are expenses involved in operating a vehicle. This is the amazing and awesome part about being a rideshare driver. Those are your only expenses. That's it. Unless you're like me and you want to pay $5 every 2 weeks to buy a case of water bottles. I use Aquafina. I like Aquafina. It tends to be a better bottled water. And that $5 of Aquafinas typically earns me anywhere between $100 and $200 in tips. So for me, again, $5 to bring back an additional 100 or 200, I'm cool with that every single time. You don't have to buy water bottles. I have cameras in my vehicle. I have an inward facing camera recording the passengers and the driver, me. And I have an outward facing camera recording my drive. That's not a requirement. You don't have to spend $20 at Walmart or $300 on Amazon to buy you a dash cam. You don't have to have any cameras. I recommend that you do. I think it's worth it in a lot of ways, but you don't have to. Car washes. You know, it used to cost me $8 to $15 to get my car washed because I was taking it through very seldom for a one-time car wash. Now, I have my vehicle washed every single day, once on the exterior of the vehicle and twice on the interior of the vehicle. You know how much it cost me? It cost me $1.23 per day. $1.23 for a car wash. You know why? Because I have a fast pass. It's $30 a month, free vacuuming, unlimited. So I'm able to wash my car every single day for $1.23. Just one tip takes care of my car wash. Not too worried about that expense. When it comes to gas, whether you have a Prius that goes far, or you have an electric car that goes farther, or you have a gas guzzling full-size pickup truck, extended cab, because you got to be able to drive passengers, you're going to be spending money on gas. So use some common sense and understand that in order to operate a vehicle, to drive around, you got to spend money on gas. The great thing is, if you're driving enough passengers, they will take care of the gas. Fares and tips way more than take care of your gas. I drive typically anywhere between 200 and 300 miles a day, every day. That means I put gas in my tank every day. I typically spend anywhere between $25 and $35 a day for gas. Yes, that's an expense. Yes, I deduct that from my earnings. Yes, I still make a large profit every day. So, for those of you who haven't asked any of the expenses questions, or you're just wondering, or you just found this video, you know, I just want to apologize for my tone. My tone is a little bit like a dad or a mom speaking to a young child. Make sure the young child, are you listening? Do you understand me? And it's just because I get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions in the comments that I answer, that I give great answers for, and then I still get hundreds and hundreds. Oh, what about gas? What about tires? What about insurance? What about, do you know that if you operate a vehicle, you have to have insurance anyway, right? So Uber and Lyft also provide insurance for when your passenger is in your vehicle, and your insurance provider might ask you to, or might require you to carry an additional insurance coverage on your vehicle for the times when passengers are not in your vehicle. For me, I would rather be fully insured and not have to worry about insurance. So I'm willing to pay that extra expense. To me, it's worth it because I make good money above and beyond the gas and the insurance and the oil changes. I get my oil changed typically once every other month. Now that I drive Rideshare, sometimes I'll go as much as 3 months, but usually once every other month. And usually costs me anywhere between $55 and $65 to drive in to Valvoline to have them change my oil for me while I sit in my vehicle and not get my hands dirty and not have to loosen any bolts or replace any filters or any of that. So 55 to 60 bucks once every other month or once every 3 months. Yes, that's an expense. Not too worried about it. You know why? Because I make way more money than all my expenses in rideshare. All of them: insurance, gas, oil changes, car washes, my aroma, my scent, my little trees, my Vanillarama little trees. Any expense, all expenses, I make way more money than that in rideshare. So, the last thing I have to say about expenses in rideshare. Keep in mind, the only expenses should be vehicle operating expenses that I mentioned. There's a few others maybe that I didn't mention that are vehicle operating expenses. There's no other expenses. Your only other expense is Uber's cut or Lyft's cut, what they're going to take out of your earnings. And they're going to take 25%. So, you're driving, you work for yourself, you're driving your vehicle, it's your business. If you choose to make it a business, it's your instant income opportunity, but they're going to take 25%. You're going to keep 75%. For some of you, that's, crazy. That's nuts. That's insane. And you don't agree, and you shouldn't be a rideshare driver. For me, it works. I don't really want to think about application bugs and app development and marketing and other things related to the actual function of the technology of Uber or the technology of Lyft. I would rather just partner with them. They are already doing that. I'll give them 25%. I'll keep 75%. Plus, I keep 100% of my tips. That's one thing. All right. So we've gone into expenses and the expenses that come with operating a vehicle. The more you drive, the more your operational expenses will be operating a vehicle. I think everybody's got that, right? The next thing is, who should be doing this? Let me tell you who should be doing this besides every vehicle owner. Are you a new barber? Did you just get your cosmetology or whatever they call it for being a barber or a hair braider or a hair colorer or a shampooer or a scalp massager or a beautician or a makeup artist? Did you just get your license and you're looking to drum up some business? You should be driving rideshare if you got a vehicle and you qualify to drive. All you got to do is bring your little card with you. I cut hair. Here, first haircut's free. Or, come in and I will make your hair beautiful at the beauty salon. Or, did you just become a real estate agent and you need to drum up some business? You should be driving rideshare. You don't have to drive during barbershop hours. You don't have to drive during your brokerage office hours for the real estate people. If you're a beautician or I can't even say the Cosmo thing, into cosmetics and, or if you work at a spa or whatever it is, you don't have to drive during work hours. You can drive during non-work hours because you can drive Uber or you can drive Lyft any time of day or night, any day of the week. Turn your app on, you're working. Turn your app off, you're not working. As much or as little as you want. There's no quota. There's no supervision. You can get paid the same day. So you should be driving rideshare. Who else should be driving rideshare? Are you a brand new stockbroker? Are you a brand new Wall Street guy? The market is only open during certain hours. And if your income is dependent on commissions or on sales or on transactions, when you're first starting, you should supplement that income as a rideshare driver. That way, number one, you're not feeling desperate and insecure in your day job because you don't know how you're going to pay your bills. And number two, you're going to be able to pay your bills. That's cool. Number three, how you think you're going to drum up business? Do you think it might be possible that you're going to drive some people that you could do business with? You know, I drive celebrities, I drive billionaires, I drive multimillionaires, I drive business owners, I drive employees, I drive college students, I drive couples, I drive families, I drive individuals who are unemployed. I drive everybody, and I meet probably 50 to 100 people every single day. Rideshare is the best direct word-of-mouth marketing on this planet, in my opinion, for whatever your other product, service, or opportunity is. So, who else should drive rideshare? Are you a network marketer, a MLMer, or somebody like that? Somebody that has a product or a service of some kind that you want people to know about. You should not get in your vehicle for the intention, for the purpose of marketing your opportunity as your primary focus. People are not going to want to ride with you. You're not going to get good ratings. They're not going to like it. But what you should do is you should be a rideshare driver. You should go out and pick up passengers, and you should be friendly. And they're going to ask you a number of questions like, is this all you do? What else do you do? And you can answer those questions honestly, openly, with enthusiasm. And you could tell them, oh, this is the other thing that I do. Oh, I do this. I do that. And you could tell them your story and how awesome it is. And a lot of times those people will say, can I have your card? So if you're marketing some product or some service, even as an affiliate of somebody else's product or service, you should be driving rideshare. Who else should be driving rideshare? Are you a starving artist? Are you literally like a painter, a sculptor, an illustrator? Are you a writer? Are you a comedian? Are you a poet or a spoken word specialist? Are you a rapper or a singer or a musician? And you have a lot of time on your hands where you're not performing, when you need to be making money. You should be a rideshare driver. A few reasons. Number one, to pay your bills. Number two, because it's going to help you with your career. Trust me, it's going to help you to develop people skills. And number three, for the people that you're going to meet in your vehicle, the connections that you can make. You know, I've driven Juicy J from 3-6 Mafia. You know, I've driven the two of the cast members from Breaking Bad, two other cast members from a Netflix TV series. I drove Thomas Gibson from Criminal Minds. And I live in San Antonio. I don't live in Hollywood. I don't live in New York. I don't live in Miami. The connections that you can make as a rideshare driver are key. If you're an artist, you should be a rideshare driver. Who else should be a rideshare driver? Are you unemployed and you have a vehicle and you're applying for jobs or interviewing for jobs? You know what? Sometimes that process can take a little bit longer than you like. Sometimes it can take longer than it needs to. Sometimes companies move slow in their hiring process. You know that it only takes 2 to 7 days to get set up and get out on the road as a rideshare driver. As long as you can pass the driving history, the criminal background check, and your vehicle is up to par. You got insurance, you're registered, you got a valid license, and your vehicle has an inspection sticker. If you got that stuff and you're waiting to hear back from your resumes, people that called you for interviews, you should be a rideshare driver because you can make money while you wait. And guess what? You always got your phone on with you. You're never going to miss your call for that interview or that job. And the first couple weeks, if you don't get a paycheck for 2 or 3 weeks or a month into your new job, it won't matter. Because when you're not at work, you're driving rideshare and you're making money. Who else should be a rideshare driver? Anybody else that wants customers or clients. Anybody else that has a professional practice or a business, whether you're a new lawyer or you're a doctor of some sort, or you're a practitioner of some sort. If you are a martial arts instructor and you need more students for your school, and your school's not open 24/7, you probably should be a rideshare driver when you're not teaching and instructing martial arts classes or fitness classes. If you're a fitness trainer, when you aren't training people, you should be driving rideshare because you're going to make money, good money, and you're going to be meeting people who are potential clients. So, again, and the list goes on. It goes on and on and on. I know nurses that drive rideshare. They make $80,000 a year in salary, but they drive rideshare because they only work as a nurse 3 days a week or 4 days a week, and the rest of the week they have off. They're not married yet, or they are married, or they got kids and they got to pay for school, or whatever the case may be, and they drive. It really doesn't matter what you do. The question is, do you want to make money driving? And people ask me all the time, like, oh, you must really love driving, huh? No, not when I'm not driving for money. When you're driving for money, trust me, it's different. I don't like just driving to be driving. I'm not a big fan of just driving around. But when I'm driving for money, I have a really good time. If you have questions, you have comments, leave them in the comment section below. If you like the video, like it. If you want to share it, please do share it. You can embed it wherever you want to embed it. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, this is a longer video. I do videos as short as 45 seconds. But subscribe to the channel. I have a few different series. This is Rideshare Daily. I also have Real Estate Investing from Zero. I also have my Fatness to Fitness channel. I've lost 11 pounds in the last 30 days. It's awesome. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, I'm at official Elliot Potter. On Twitter, I'm at Elliot Potter. Here at YouTube, it's Elliot Potter TV. Go ahead, like, subscribe, share, comment, leave feedback below. Again, I don't mean to be rude to those of you who are not asking those questions, or just don't know, or just really want to know. My tone was the way it was because I think I have a lot of people that comment that something's wrong with their brain. Like, I don't know what's wrong with their brain. This is the last thing I'll say too before I go. When you start doing something new, you're probably going to suck. Period. Most people suck when they first start doing something. When I first started playing basketball, I was like, I don't know, 11 years old. My jumper was not that good. But by the end of my basketball career in 2000, I was a stone cold killer on the court. Shooting over 90% from the free throw line, over 50% from the three-point line. I could shoot the lights out of any gym, anywhere, period. But that came about from repetition. That came about from practice. So if you're going to start as a new driver, don't go out your first day and do 4 or 5 or 6 trips and say, oh, this sucks. I didn't make any money. No, you suck. You don't know how the business goes yet. You probably need some practice. I always tell new drivers, it's going to take you 4 to 6 weeks to get used to it. It's going to take you 2 or 3 months to get pretty decent at it. it's going to take you 6 months to master it. But if you put in the time and you do the trips, I mean, if you're just testing this, if you haven't done 300 trips, you haven't tested it. You don't know what you're talking about, and your comments and your feedback means nothing to anybody, because if you didn't even give it 300 trips, if you didn't give it 3 months, then you never drove rideshare. You got approved to drive, and you turned your app on a couple times, but you never drove rideshare. I've been driving now for a year, average about $1,000 a week from fares and tips, and I get paid more than that because I also get referral bonuses, and I'm making multiple streams of income doing other things as a direct result of rideshare. So it's a great thing if you make it a great thing, but it's going to be whatever you make it. Hit me up if you got comments, questions, concerns. You want to sign up. My links are below. Use my codes or use my links. You will get a new driver sign-on bonus, and to all your success. If you need coaching or consulting, I do that too. First 20 minutes is free. After that, I will charge, but I save you a lot of time too, trying to figure stuff out on your own. Anyway, y'all have a wonderful Saturday. I'm about to go drive for the next 12 hours and make a lot of money. Peace.